What does a dissenting judge do? A dissenting judge disagrees with the majority of the panel of judges that he or she is part of, but is nevertheless outvoted. What is more, a dissenting judge may express a dissenting opinion. A dissenting opinion is the dissenting judge's expression of a view, contrary to the one that won, the one that was shared by the majority of the judges. A dissenting opinion may be included in a judgment, and although it's not binding, it may sometimes be viewed as persuasive, especially if it has been expressed by a renowned judge. It is also worth mentioning that apart from dissenting judges, there may be dissenting shareholders or dissenting directors. A dissenting shareholder, or in other words a dissenting stockholder or a dissenting member, is, again, a person that has been outvoted by the majority but disagrees with their decision. It may be a shareholder voting at a general meeting. Sometimes such a shareholder, who is obviously dissatisfied with the resolution passed by the majority, may demand a way out. That is the company's buyback of his or her shares. As I've already mentioned, directors can also dissent. A good illustration of that is provided by Section 123, subsection 1, of Canada Business Corporations Act, which reads as follows. A director who is present at a meeting of directors or committee of directors is deemed to have consented to any resolution passed or action taken at the meeting, unless a. the director requests a dissent to be entered in the minutes of the meeting, or the dissent has been entered in the minutes. B. the director sends a written dissent to the secretary of the meeting before the meeting is adjourned, or C. the director sends a dissent by registered mail or delivers it to the registered office of the corporation immediately after the meeting is adjourned. By now it should be clear to you that to dissent means to disagree, but what you still need to learn is the opposite of the verb to dissent, namely to assent. To assent means to agree, to consent. Dissent and assent can also be used as nouns. I've given you an example of the usage of the former in the quotation you've just heard, and a very good example of the latter is royal assent. Royal assent is the official consent of a king or queen to a new piece of legislation. In the UK, it is the final stage of the legislative process, and although nowadays it is considered to be a mere formality, it still has to be formally received. It's time for a quick review. What verb have I mentioned that means to agree? To assent. What verb have I mentioned that means to disagree? To dissent. Can assent and dissent be also used as nouns? Yes, they can. Who may be, for example, described as dissenting. A judge, a shareholder, a stockholder, a member, a director, who gives royal assent. A king or a queen. Is royal assent the first or the last stage of the process of enacting a new piece of legislation? It is the last stage. Thank you for your attention.